DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. We're going to have a great show today. We're going to talk about technology. We're going to talk about some things that are going on at Merck Animal Health. We have Paul Koffman here, who is the North American lead for Allflex Livestock Intelligence. We have Dr. Jason Nickel here. He's the manager of professional services, both at Merck. We're going to talk about things that are not just the future, but things that are here now to serve you in the livestock industry.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. We're here in COVID era. We're using the technology that we have, and we're going to talk about technology. And we have two very special guests. They're colleagues and friends of mine. We have Mr. Paul Koffman. He is the North American lead for the Allflex Livestock Intelligence Group. And we have Dr. Jason Nickel here, who is the manager of professional services for Merck Animal Health. And we're going to talk about technology. So I just want to welcome you both to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
So we're going to start out today. Let's just start out talking about Allflex, because I think that's the, as we look towards where we are and where we're at, that's a very familiar name in the technology business.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan, and appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. Certainly, if you're like me and you've got that livestock background and grew up, Allflex is a name you've probably used for years, probably known for the identification business. This is a business that started 65 years ago in New Zealand and has been certainly that leader in that space as we think about identification, be that ear tags, visual tags, RFID tags for years. The interesting piece is this is a business that's continued to grow and develop and meet those unmet customer needs, and look at how we continue to evolve with technology. So with acquisitions of different businesses, such as a dairy monitoring company out of Israel back in 2014, 2015, really started to get that fusion between identification and monitoring, and where we really started with what we now call livestock intelligence. Big in the dairy space, and certainly hopefully we'll talk about that at another time. But really a company that, as Merck, and the company that I have been with and we're very proud to be a part of, Merck looked and bought this Allflex business in 2019, and really to look to continue to grow that area, how we do that fusion of technology and biopharmaceuticals to really help create that future piece and look at how we actually do a better job of managing our animals, give them a better outcome, and start to meet the needs of that evolving consumer space.
You bet. And when we look at Allflex, it's no longer just our dangle tag. Got a few other things going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a really important piece of that is while you say it's not the dangle tag, still, as even though that looks like that simple piece of plastic, at the end of the day, this is still very important technology, whether it's a dangle tag or it's an RFID tag. If we haven't identified that animal, we can't make any changes. We don't know which animal it is. We can't make any improvements. But evolving beyond this, certainly we're leader in the RFID space, with the EID tags, in the reader technology. But really where we've evolved is certainly into this monitoring technology. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, using wearable technology to monitor those animals, to track their activity, very similar to what you might do with a smartwatch or your phone for that matter, and identify where they're moving, how they're moving, and use that data to then relate that back to actual states within that cow's life or that steer's life. So really expanding quickly, Dan.
Cool. Well, folks, I think this is just getting your appetite started for this conversation. We're going to take a break. When we come right back, we're going to be here with Paul Koffman and Jason Nickel from Merck. Thanks for joining us. More to come on DocTalk. Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Welcome to Cattle First, as sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. And the term today, biosecurity. Biosecurity is security. It's like having a bouncer that keeps pathogens out and keeps disease out of your herd. One of the best tools you can use for biosecurity is a proper vaccination program, and work with your veterinarian on that. The second one is introduction of new animals. And when we bring new animals on the farm, making sure that if there's a disease that is important that we test for, that we have that done prior to bringing them on the premise. And if they haven't been, then we have a place to quarantine them until we can get the diagnostics back, I think is vitally important. Talking to your neighbors as cattle lean across the fence and communicate with each other, making sure that you have a community-wide biosecurity plan and vaccination plan, vitally important. Keep the disease out, be the bouncer.
When you're in the cattle business, no matter how much it's a business, it still starts with cattle. It's this basic notion that sits at the core of how we approach things at Boehringer Ingelheim. We understand when you put the cattle first, it just naturally leads to doing the right things. If you want to do well in this business, you start by doing right. Take care of the cattle, and they'll take care of you.
The state of Iowa and Iowa State University are proud to host the 2021 Beef Improvement Federation Annual Research Symposium and Convention. The convention will be located in downtown Des Moines with easy access to the airport, hotels, and local restaurants. Iowa State University is just north with its research and teaching farms. Join us in Iowa and experience how Iowa provides the beef industry with innovation to application.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need. From prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. What a great day it is, and I've got two special guests. These are two people that are getting up and down the road. They're out in the industry. They're making changes happen. Paul Koffman and Jason Nickel. Paul is the North American lead for Allflex Livestock Solutions, and we have Jason Nickel here, who is the manager of professional services. And we hear about the Merck is growing. And now that the relationship is that, Merck has expanded into Allflex.
Yes, absolutely. And as I mentioned before, it's a business that Merck bought back in 2019. With that, as well as other acquisitions like the quantified ag business out of Nebraska that we recently purchased, some whisper technology that we'll speak about, and even Identigen, Merck has now launched an operating unit that we refer to as Merck Animal Health Intelligence, Dan. And that piece is really fundamental as we think about how we're connecting animals and people with that smarter data to enrich those lives and better outcomes. And the exciting thing about that piece is how we start to utilize this data and really transform the way we manage livestock. And we'll go in the next little bit on a couple real specific examples. But just think about the opportunity to monitor those animals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, identify them getting sick earlier than we as humans identify them, and then intervene, right? So, I mean, really that fusion of technology and biopharma, we really see as the future of how we're going to manage livestock.
Yeah, I see this as an emergence. I see this as a metamorphosis of your company. And, as we have thought of pharma and biologicals and thought about animal health companies as being more of the bugs and drugs and vaccines and things to that nature. And then came along tech services, right? We started providing technical service to go along with the products. And now you're coming out into a technology platform that helps us use the products smarter, to use them at a better time, and to be more judicious in the end. And so all the way around, these technologies that this company and these people are bringing to us are going to help us stay in business. And it's just got to be exciting to go to work day to day there.
Absolutely, no question about it. I've been in the industry myself for 28 years now, after having got out of Iowa State, actually, where you're sitting. And certainly, this is probably the most exciting time I've had. I mean, just really, as we look towards that future and changing the way we actually work with livestock, as we interact with pets and having that better health outcome, and at the same time, addressing labor issues, which are a challenge, and also meeting the needs of those consumers or what they're asking for in the way we produce food.
We're going to take a break here, but before we go, I just got to remind people this. When I hear people talk about technology and they say, "Oh, I'm not going to be needed in the future," all this stuff, it couldn't be further from the truth. Just because you have a baby monitor doesn't mean you don't need a mother. And as we move forward with technology, there's going to be more opportunities in agriculture than ever before. We're going to come back. We're going to take a break. We have Paul Koffman, Jason Nickel, Merck Animal Health, great partners for us here on DocTalk so that we can do our business, but more importantly, great partners for you, the farmers and ranchers that are getting it done every day. We'll be right back.
Some call it a come from behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. We have two special guests here. We have Paul Koffman, who is the North American lead for Allflex Livestock Intelligence. We also have Jason Nickel here, who is the manager of professional services, and they're both working on this huge platform in Merck on using medical intelligence to help you use technology to serve your animals better. So let's jump into real quick. Let's start out with what you're doing on arrival there with Whisper Technology, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. And an area going back to 2016, Merck has been really a strong player in the pharmaceutical space in feedlot cattle for years, but we also identified an opportunity to do something different and think about how we manage those cattle on arrival. And, we get different information when they come in. So we started in 16 to develop a product that we call Whisper on Arrival. And what it does is actually gives us a more definitive identification of those animals that do or don't need metaphylaxis. But I'm going to throw that to the expert, Dr. Nickel, and have him talk a little bit more about it.
Awesome. Jason, tell us a little bit about this.
You bet. You bet. Well, taking a step back, Dan, when you were speaking earlier about antibiotic use in the industry and judicious use, we understand, metaphylaxis as a concept. It works. We can replicate that over and over. We have 4 to 5 decades of data that says it does work. What we understand in the veterinary community, though, is that we probably don't have to administer antibiotics to every animal that comes through that chute on arrival. And if we had the ability to only, administer antibiotics to the animals that needed it, that would be of value, because then we could save money on the animals that don't need it, and we could, provide that verification to that consumer to say, we are only using it in these animals that need it. Where Whisper on Arrival was developed was to do just that, was to predict at the individual animal level who is going to benefit from metaphylactic antibiotics, who does not need that antibiotic, and only administer it to those that are at risk and withhold it from those that are not. And so right now we are beta testing that particular technology with plans to roll that out at a larger level here in 2021. But more to come on that, but excited to what we're seeing.
I'd say for me in my feed yards, it's an order buyer checker. When we want to see what people are sending us, and kind of have a little bit better picture when those cattle come in on arrival, to be able to sit there and listen to their lungs and see if you're going to have a fighting chance or not is another important issue, I think, as we move forward.
Yeah, it is. And you would be surprised. We place, as you're well aware, we place a qualitative risk status on incoming lots: high risk, medium risk, low risk. And we make that decision of administering antibiotics, metaphylactic antibiotics, based on that risk. And we have been, we know based on the data that ability to predict BRD risk is not good. But we have been very surprised by what the proportion of animals, a quote unquote high risk lot, how much antibiotics we can save in those lots. Conversely, in those lots where you're kind of on the fence as far as whether or not we need to give it or not, how much we actually probably do need to give. And so it has provided value from that standpoint.
It's awesome. It's great technology, folks. You need to go check it out. Whisper on Arrival. When we come back, we're going to talk about quantified ag, and we're going to talk about Whisper at the Chute. We got Paul Koffman and Jason Nickel here with us today. Thanks for watching DocTalk. We'll be right back.
When you're in the cattle business, no matter how much it's a business, it still starts with cattle. It's this basic notion that sits at the core of how we approach things at Boehringer Ingelheim. We understand when you put the cattle first, it just naturally leads to doing the right things. If you want to do well in this business, you start by doing right. Take care of the cattle, and they'll take care of you.
Beef Teaching Farm is a place where producers,
entrepreneurs,
faculty,
innovators,
consumers, and most of all, our students
have an opportunity to learn.
We strive for excellence in the beef business and provide an environment for others to engage in production agriculture.
Through
teaching, advocacy, and hands-on instruction. We can grow the next generation of beef producers.
We are
the Iowa State University Beef Teaching Farm.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan here with Paul Koffman and Jason Nickel. Paul's the North American lead of Allflex Livestock Intelligence. Jason is the manager of professional services, and they've been friends and colleagues. And wow, what an exciting day! Talk to us a little bit about Quantified Ag, Paul.
You bet, Dr. Dan. So Quantified Ag is a company that Merck and is now part of our Allflex Livestock Intelligence Group that Merck acquired just this summer. Actually, it's a company we've worked with for the last several years. And what they do is they actually use a wearable technology. And that wearable technology for feedlot cattle, what it does is it helps us identify those animals getting sick. You know, our normal approach would be a pen rider. But as I think Jason will go a little deeper on, certainly any of us that have been around those cattle in the feedlot know they do a heck of a job of hiding when they're sick and not letting us know. So what this does is monitors them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and again, helps us identify them getting sick. And Jason, I'll throw it to you to go into a little bit more details about what it does and how it works.
You bet. And so the technology in and of itself is measuring that animal's activity and body temperature to identify outliers, if you will, in the population. And so the user or the owner would be alerted every morning as to which animals have been alerted overnight, what pen they're located in. And so instead of asking individuals to spend time writing pens on any given day, we're basically asking them, here, go get these animals that the system has alerted, right? What we have seen in our studies is the ability to cut back on the time spent writing pens by roughly 85%. We are continuing to do work there. Anecdotally, what individuals have seen is because we are getting to these animals earlier in the disease process, we have seen significant reductions in morbidity and mortality. Mortality, believe it or not, we have in some cases been able to reduce those mortality risks by up to 50%. Simply being able to administer therapy to animals earlier than in conventional systems.
I might add, when those animals do present as sick, the other interesting thing about the tag is that actually there's a blinking green light on here. So not only do you have to just go find which animal you need to pull and look at closer. So that blinking light, again, another addition, not eliminating labor, just augmenting it with technology to help make people's lives easier and have a better outcome.
So it shows up on my smartphone or whatever. And then when I go out there, there's a blinking light in the ear of the animal that I need to go get. And the setup, I mean, we have just a few seconds left here, but the setup is easy, right? I mean, it's not like 10 poles in every pen. This is plug something in and get some Wi-Fi connection.
No, sir. And that's one of the things that really attracted us to Quantified Ag as a technology. It's it's an antenna basically at a high level within the feed yard, pulls about a 1.5 mile radius from there. And we can pull in at this point right about 48,000 head with basically a base antenna and a station. So really low infrastructure. We're not tugging wires and poles and antennas all over that real rugged feed yard environment. So really positive there.
Well, I just want to thank you both for being on the show. I want to thank you for sharing this technology. It's something that I've worked with the different products. One of my graduate students wrote the first paper on Whisper in 2008 in bovine practitioner, and so to see these things come to fruition and to see you all take them out in the field, it's going to save so much time, and it's going to help improve case outcome with cattle and decrease morbidity and mortality. Thanks to everybody watching today. Remember, always work with a local veterinarian. And if you want to know more about what we do at DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here with Paul Koffman and Dr. Jason Nickel. We're at DocTalk at Iowa State University, and we'll see you down the road.
DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.